in J.R.R. Tolkien's book, The Return of the King, there's a scene where Frodo and Sam are discussing orc diets. You know, the ugly, drooling humanoid monsters. Well, Sam wonders whether orcs actually eat like normal creatures, or if at their core, they're not something entirely other. Frodo counters in the affirmative. The shadow that bred them can only mock. It cannot make. Not real things of its own. I don't think it gave life to the orcs. It only ruined them and twisted them. In other words, evil cannot create anything original. It can only twist or replicate that which was already created. Whether or not this was some deep philosophical convention Tolkien wished to advance, or even an accurate depiction of reality, that Satan cannot create, only mimic and twist, it seems to be true enough in our text. Now, I've shared how the relationship between the dragon and the beast is a sick parody of the relationship between God the Father and God the Son. Now, with the appearance of the second beast, the beast of the earth, we have the completion of the demonic triad, contrasting with the third person of the Trinity, God the Holy Spirit. Let's look at Revelation 13, verses 11 and 12. John tells us, "Then I saw a second beast coming out of the earth. It had two horns like a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. It exercised all the authority of the first beast on its behalf and made the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast whose fatal wound had been healed." Obviously, the Holy Spirit doesn't have two horns like a lamb or speak like a dragon. The connection, the likeness, begins with verse 12 in the second beast, leading the inhabitants of the earth to worship the first beast. Now, that's what the Spirit does for us as believers, leading us into the worship of the Son and the Father. In Philippians 3:3, Paul states that we worship by the Spirit of God. It's the Spirit that empowers, leads, and directs us in our worship. John 16:14 talks about the Spirit glorifying Jesus, which may not sound like worship to you, but glorifying Jesus essentially means to acknowledge and honor him with praise, i.e. worship. Revelation 13:13 states, "And it," we're still talking about beast number 2, "performed great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to the earth in full view of the people." Now, the imagery might remind you of Pentecost, and maybe beyond the signs and wonders worked by the Spirit's power. Not for nothing, but to authenticate and validate the message of Jesus. The Spirit exists not only to lead us into worship of the Son, but to enable us to point others to the Son. One more verse, verse 14. "Because of the sign it was given power to perform on behalf of the first beast, it deceived the inhabitants of the earth. It ordered them to set up an image in honor of the beast who was wounded by the sword and yet lived." The beast deceives the inhabitants of the earth. Well, Jesus tells us in John 16:13 that the Spirit will lead us, the citizens of heaven, into all truth. In a way, the second beast could work like a photo negative. As a parody of the Spirit, it reminds us of all the things that the Spirit should be doing in our lives. So what about it? Is the Spirit the forgotten third member of the Trinity? Or is it regularly leading you into worship of God the Father and God the Son? Is the Spirit active in your life in such a way that you're able to point others to Jesus regularly, meaningfully, and dare I say powerfully? Lastly, is the Holy Spirit guiding you into truth that you're able to increasingly see this world from God's perspective and live for his will? Have a great week.